Welcome to your Business Studies class. Today we are going to be having our questions and answers. So you're expected to sit back and let's take some questions. So we're also going to be explaining why the answer is meant to be so. So I believe after this, you'll be able to answer your questions correctly. So we'll start with the first question, which says, which of the following financial transactions accepts and keeps deposits for customers? We have A, central bank, B, commercial banks, C, finance houses, D, insurance companies, E, stock exchange. The first option there is central bank. That's wrong. The central bank is not a bank that accepts and keeps deposits. We have the commercial bank, which is the right answer. The commercial bank is that bank where customers go to carry out their different financial transactions, like accepting of deposits, keeping of deposits, they grant loans, overdrafts, checks, and so on and so forth. Then the finance house, no. The insurance companies, the wrong answer. Stock exchange, no. So the correct answer here, which describes the question, is the commercial banks. The next question, question 2, says, the market for lending and borrowing of long-term loans is the dash market. We have A, capital market, we have commodity, we have consumer, we have foreign, we have money. A, capital market, is the right answer. So why is capital market the right answer? Capital market is that market that borrows and lends business owners long-term loans. They grant long-term loans to business owners or company owners who want to expand their capital base. The commodity market, which is option B, is that market where consumers go to buy their day-to-day items, consumable items like raw materials, their finished products, items that we use for our day-to-day living. The consumer market is not a type of market. We have the foreign exchange market, which is also a type of market, but this type of market is a market where we exchange one country's currency for another country's currency. Then we have the last option, which is E, money market. It's also a type of market, but this market is the market where short-term loans are gotten. So the correct answer for this question is option A, capital market. We move to the next question, question 3. The path through which goods pass from producers to final consumers is A, we have channel of distribution, B, we have dissemination route, we have post-sale service, we have pre-sale activity, we have transmission route. The right answer is the channel of distribution. The channel of distribution is that path, that channel, the route through which goods are moved or goods are passed from the producers, which are the manufacturers, to the final consumers, which are the end users of the product. So the right answer is A, channel of distribution. Question 4, an expression of feeling of dissatisfaction about a business activity is A, we have complaints, B, we have exoneration, we have opportunity, we have threat, we have weakness. The right answer is A, complaints. Complaints is an act of you expressing yourself when you are not satisfied with a product you have bought or a service that has been rendered to you. All other ones, like opportunity, threats, weaknesses, they are under SWOT analysis. Exoneration is a means of excusing yourself, setting yourself aside because of a particular thing. So the right answer here is complaints, A. The next question, 5. The following are reasons for consumer protection. The following are reasons for consumer protection. Consumers are expected to be protected, except A, encouraging the exploitation of consumer. B, ensuring regular supply of essential commodities. C, guaranteeing goods and services rendered of high quality. D, making sure that consumers are satisfied. E, protecting them from dangerous goods. If you look at the first option, encouraging the exploitation of consumer, it is not a reason for consumer protection. All other ones are the reasons why consumers need to be protected. For regular supply of commodities, to ensure that the products sold to them are of high quality, to ensure that consumers are satisfied, which is the main reason for consumer protection, then to protect them from dangerous goods. So the odd one out here is A, encouraging the exploitation of consumers. Instead, they discourage the exploitation of consumers. So the answer is A. The next question. The maximum number of individuals that can form a private company is A, 10, B, 20, C, 28, D, 50, E, 70. The private company is a form of business organization under the limited liability company. The limited liability company can be subdivided into two, which are the public limited liability company and the private limited liability company. So for the private limited liability company is a company formed by 2 to 50 people. So the question here says, what is the maximum number? So the maximum number is 50. So the range of the number is 2 to 50. So the minimum is 2, the maximum is 50. 20 is for partnership business. Partnership business is formed by maximum of 20 people. So the appropriate answer here is 50, option D. The next question, granting discount to a buyer of a product is an example of A, after-sale services, B, customer care, C, pre-sale services, D, public relation, E, social responsibility. After-sale services are services offered to the seller, to the buyer after goods are being sold. Customer care services are those services that are rendered to people generally to ensure that they are satisfied with whatever service that is being rendered to them. There they accept their complaints, they ensure that they are satisfied with all of their services. We have pre-sale service. Pre-sale service are those services that are rendered to customers or to buyers before the sales of the product. So the answer here is pre-sale service. Most times discounts are given even before you pay for the product. Just like an example, you see somebody telling you, okay, if you are able to pay for this product before so day, I'm going to give you 10% discount. Or if you are able to pay everything or the due amount, that's the invoiced amount of what you have bought, I'm going to give you a discount. Or because if you are able to buy so number, maybe you are able to buy a large quantity of goods, I'm going to give you a discount. So the answer here is C. The next question says the reward for capital as a factor of production is A, interest, B, profit, C, rent, D, salary, E, wage. We have 4 factors of production, in which one of them is capital. So the reward for capital is option A, interest. Profit is a reward for an entrepreneur. Rent is a reward for land. Salary and wage are rewards for labor. So the reward for capital as a factor of production is interest, option A. The next question, question 9, says the selling of Nigeria crude oil to a firm in Britain is an example of dash trade. The selling of Nigeria crude oil to a firm in Britain is an example of dash trade. Is it Entreport or export, or home trade, or retail, or wholesale trade? The correct answer is export, option B. Export is defined as the selling out of goods from your own home country to other countries, which depicts the sentence here. The selling of Nigeria crude oil to a firm in Britain. And entreport, export, they are under foreign trade. That is trade between two or more countries. But for home trade is a domestic trade. That is selling within Nigeria or a particular country, which can still be subdivided into retail and wholesale. So the answer for this question is B, export trade. Question 10. Who among the following renders direct services? We have barber, we have civil servant, we have police officer, we have the sales representative, and we have the soldier. All these are services, but which one renders a direct service? The answer is option A, barber. A barber renders a direct service. Direct services are personal services. They are services rendered to the direct recipient of the service, in which the recipient pays for it. All other ones are indirect services, which are rendered to the general public. Civil servants, which is a government worker, renders to the general public. Police officer, general public. Sales representative, general public. The soldier, all these render indirect services. So the answer here is option A, the barber. The next question, an agreed sum of money that the insured pays to the insurer at periodic intervals is, we have contribution, we have indemnity, we have interest, we have premium, we have subrogation. Before I give you the answer, let me first of all identify who an insured and the insurer is. Because if you are not able to differentiate between these two, you will not be able to identify the correct answer. Who is the insured? The insured is someone who has taken up an insurance policy. That's the policy holder. Somebody who goes to the insurance company to take up an insurance policy, like fire, burglary, theft, is referred to as an insured, while the insurer is the insurance company. So the agreed sum of money now paid by the insured to the insurer at periodic intervals is dash. Is it contribution or indemnity or interest or premium or subrogation? The answer is premium. Option D. Premium is a fixed agreed sum of money paid to the insurer at periodic interval. It's a fixed agreed sum of money paid to the insurer by the insured. Indemnity is a principal. Contribution, indemnity, insurable interest, and subrogation, they are all principles of insurance. The next question, question 12, says, an example of a non-insurable risk is a loss arising from A, fire accident, B, flood, C, marine insurance, D, motor accident, E, theft. So which one of this is a non-insurable risk? That means a risk that you cannot insure. The answer is option B. Flood is a natural disaster. So most times we don't insure natural disasters. We insure things like, we insure our items or our properties against fire, marine, that is the insurance taken on anything insurable on water. We can take up insurance against motor accidents. We can take up insurance against burglary or theft. So the non-insurable risk here is B, flood. The next one, question 13, says Globalcom Nigeria makes the following services available to their customers except A, call, B, internet, C, multimedia, D, postal, E, short message. the Globacom Nigeria, that's the Glo network. They offer call services, they offer internet services, they offer multimedia services, they offer short message services, but they do not offer postal services. Postal services are rendered by NIPOST, that's a post office agency. So the answer here is D, postal service. The next question, 14, says the medium of advertisement that provides pictorial and motion representation. Pictorial and motion representation is, we have journal, newspaper, radio, sticker, television. The answer here is E, television. Television is that means of advert that provides you with pictures and also motions. That means you are able to demonstrate the use of what you are advertising. Journals cannot do that. Journal is just only visual. It offers you just the visual representation. Newspaper offers visual representation. Radio offers audio representation. Sticker offers you visual representation, but television offers you both the audio and the visual, which we refer to as the pictorial and the motion representation of products. Question 15 says, giving information about a product to the public defines A, advertising, business, communication, insurance, marketing. The answer is advertising. Advertising is a means of creating awareness about the existence of a product in the market. It's a means through which information can be given about products to the general public. Advertising is an aid to trade. We have some other ones. Communication is an aid to trade, but it's just a means of passing general information. It's not centered around a product like advertising. So the answer here is A, advertising. Question 16. A major advantage of rail over road transportation is that it A, has low cost of maintenance, B, is flexible, C, is suitable for carrying heavy goods, D, offers door-to-door service, E, requires no special route. So which one is a major advantage of rail over road transportation? Option C is the answer. Is suitable for carrying heavy goods. Rails can carry heavier goods than road transportation using the train. The train is used for carrying heavy and bulky goods within the country. But the other ones, which is a flexibility, is for road transportation. Offering of door-to-door services is for road transportation. But the appropriate answer here is suitable for carrying heavy goods. Question 17. The most suitable means of carrying perishable and fragile goods is by, this is looking at a particular means of transportation, a particular form of transportation. Is it air? Is it pipeline? Is it rail? Is it road? Is it the water means? The most suitable means of carrying perishable and fragile goods is A, the air means of transportation. Why? The air means is the fastest means of transportation. So if goods are perishable, what do you mean by perishable goods? They are goods that cannot stand the test of time. They are goods that can easily spoil. Fragile goods are delicate goods that can easily spoil too. So the best means to carry them is the air means because it is the fastest means of transportation. 18 says a bank customer that makes cash withdrawals using check is operating a dash account. Is it capital account or current account or domiciliary account or joint account or savings account? The answer is B, current account. The current account is that account that allows frequent withdrawals of cash using a checkbook. Using a checkbook. The current account is the only account that allows you to use a checkbook for withdrawal. A savings account uses what is called a withdrawal slip. All other ones are also types of accounts, but the ones that uses a check is the current account. The next question says, the trade between Nigeria and Ghana is an example of dash trade. Is it entreport or export or foreign trade or import or wholesale trade? The trade between Nigeria and Ghana. The answer is foreign trade. How do we define foreign trade? Foreign trade is a trade or is a buying and selling of goods and services between two or more countries. Between two or more countries. It is that trade that is carried out between two or more countries, and it can also be called international trade. The next question says, the person who buys goods in large quantity from the manufacturer and sells in small quantity to the retailer is dash. A person who buys goods in large quantity from the manufacturer and sells in small quantity to the retailer is he an agent or a broker or a consumer or a producer or a wholesaler? The answer is a wholesaler. Option E. A wholesaler is referred to as a person who buys goods in large quantity from the producer or the manufacturer and sells in small quantities to the retailer. Question 21 says, which of the following is an advantage of a sole proprietorship business? The sole proprietorship business is referred to as a one-man business, a business owned, controlled, financed, and managed by one man. So which one of these is an advantage of having or setting up a sole proprietorship business? A, the death of the sole proprietor can end the business. B, it is easy to start up. C, the liability of the business is unlimited. D, losses can be distributed. E, owners bears all risk. So which one is an advantage? Option B is the answer. It is easy to start up. It's the simplest form of business. It is easy to start up because the amount required is small. That means the capital required is small, and it is very easy to start and manage. All other ones are the disadvantages. They're the disadvantages. The death of the proprietor can end the business as a disadvantage. The liability is unlimited. That means it encounters unlimited debt. Then also losses can be distributed. This one is peculiar to the partnership and the limited liability business. Then the owner bears all the risk. That is also a disadvantage of the sole proprietorship business. So the answer here is option B. It is easy to start up. That's a major advantage. We still have some other advantages like all the profit belongs to the owner. It is easy to establish. The capital required is small. Then it is very easy to take decisions and implement it, and so on and so forth. Question 22 says, an unfair treatment in business transaction can be corrected by seeking for A, exoneration, B, justification, C, popularity, D, ratification, E, redress. The answer is option E, redress. Seeking for redress. Seeking for redress is one of your rights as a consumer. Is when an unfair treatment has been given to you, one of the ways you correct it or you report it for actions to be taken is to seek for what is called redress. The next question says, the following are ethics of sourcing chemicals. The following are ethics of sourcing chemicals except that A, the chemicals for educational purposes must be carefully packaged. B, licensed vendors should be maintained. C, special permits should be obtained from government. D, supplies should be made by unlicensed suppliers. E, vendors should not fake and adulterate chemicals. So all these other ones are the ethics of sourcing for chemicals, except option D, which says supplies should be made by unlicensed supplier. It is not an ethic. Instead, supplies should be made by licensed suppliers. Licensed suppliers are suppliers that have been given the permission or the authority by NAFDAC, that's the government, to buy, sell, import, export, or distribute chemicals. The next question says, truthfulness, transparency, and genuineness in all business dealings with customers explains a salesman's quality of A, commitment, B, honest, C, promptness, D, punctuality, E, regularity. The answer is B. Honesty is the act of being truthful, being transparent, being genuine, being open in your dealings with people, being trustworthy. That's an act of honesty. So option B is the answer. Question 25 says the reward of an entrepreneur as a factor of production is dash. Is it commission, or interest, or profit, or rent, or salary? The reward for an entrepreneur as a factor of production is profit. Why? As an entrepreneur, you are the business owner, you are the owner of the production exercise, and the main aim of production, aside or one of the aims of production, the main aim of production is to meet the needs of people. But you as an entrepreneur, your main aim of setting up a business is to make profit. So your answer is C, profit. 26 says, production is complete when goods A, are distributed widely, B, are stored in warehouse, E, create demand for other brands, D, get to the wholesaler, E, reach the final consumers. What is the end result of production? The end result of production is to reach the final consumers. The main aim of production is to satisfy the needs of the consumers. That's the reason why we say production is the creation of utility. Utility there means satisfaction. Every product produced must satisfy our needs. So it has to reach the final consumers before it will be used. The next question, 27, says, which of the following is carried out in an extractive industry? This is under occupation or production. We have the extractive occupation, we have extractive production. So which of these is carried out in an extractive industry? A, we have bridge building, we have farming activities, we have house building, we have plumbing, we have road maintenance. The answer is B, farming activities. The word extractive means bringing out things from the ground, and this is under the primary production activity. Another name for the extractive industry is primary industry or primary production. We call it the primary production stage. And this is the stage where raw materials are gotten from the farm or from natural resources. So one of the major activities carried out there is farming activities. All other ones are under constructive. They are under the constructive industry. Bridge building, house building, plumbing, road maintenance, they are under constructive industry. We take the next question, question 28. It says, the aim of production is to dash. A, advertise goods and services. B, exploit consumers. C, grant discount to customers. D, satisfy consumers. E, sell goods and services on credit. What is the main aim of production? The main aim of production is to satisfy consumers, for the goods produced to meet the needs of the consumers. So the answer is option D, to satisfy consumers. The next question, question 29, says, when a consumer derives satisfaction from the consumption of an intangible product, he or she is said to have enjoyed quality dash. Quality, A, item, B, product, C, service, D, supply, E, trade. The answer is option C, quality service. Services are intangible products. The word intangible product here is what produces this answer. Tangible products are items, visible goods, visible products that we get. But the intangible ones are services rendered to us. Remember, as a buyer, you either, as a consumer, you either buy goods or services are rendered to you. So as a consumer, when you derive satisfaction from intangible products, it explains that you have enjoyed quality service. The next question, question 30, says, an account in which money is kept for a specified period of time before withdrawal can be made is dash account. Is it capital account or current or fixed deposit or profit and loss account or savings account? The answer here is option C, the fixed deposit account. There are three major types of accounts: the savings, the current, and the fixed deposit. So the account where you keep money for a specific period of time and until that time elapses you cannot withdraw the money is the fixed deposit account. I told you before now in one of the questions we looked at current account. That's the account where you can withdraw money at any time. Money can be withdrawn at any time using the checkbook. Then you have the savings account. That's the account where you also keep money for some time. You are not expected to withdraw it frequently. And for that, that's the reason why it's actually called a savings account, but it saves, is an account where small amount of money is kept and you use a withdrawal slip for withdrawal. So the answer is a fixed deposit account. Question 31, we have a bookkeeping question here. It says the following extract is from the books of Karim Enterprise. The list of transactions says capital 26,000, creditors 1,800, loan from Aboki 4,000 naira. So the question is, what is the total of Karim's assets? Looking at this question, what they expect you to prepare is called the balance sheet. The balance sheet is that statement. It's not a book of accounts, it's a statement that shows the assets and the liabilities of a company at a given time. So we have something like this. Every of your accounts must have a title. Balance sheet as at, is a date given to us? No. Okay, the name of the account owner is Karim Enterprise. This side is called the liability side, while this side is called the asset side. So let me group these three transactions to where they're supposed to be. Are they liabilities or assets? That's the first question you should ask yourself. Capital is written in the liability side. We have capital. $26,000. There are some other things that are expected to be added under capital, but it's not given to us, so we'll leave that for now. Then we move to the liability side. Here is where we record our liabilities. We have creditors. Creditors is a liability. Liabilities are debts. We have 1,800. Then you have loan from Aboki, 4,000 naira. So addition of everything here gives us 800 31. Now, we call this a balance sheet because the debit side must equal with your credit side. This side is called the asset side. So whatever you have here, this place too is still meant to total 31,800. But because no asset was given, so it's assumed that the asset here is also what? 31,800. So the question here, they are trying to test how knowledgeable you are in posting of transactions. Some people will just say, but no asset was given to us. Yes, no asset was given to you, but they expect you to know that your total liability must equal your total asset. That's the formula. Asset equals to liabilities. So if you have gotten your assets, that is the same answer. If liabilities will be given, it will also total the same thing. So your answer is option E, 31,800. The next question says, the document sent by a seller to a customer when there is an undercharge is dash a checkbook, credit note, debit note, invoice, receipt. So which document is sent, or which source document is sent by a seller to a customer when there is an undercharge? To be undercharged means to be given below the price on the invoice. Maybe, for example, your invoice is meant to total 51,000 naira, but while they were calculating, or maybe there was an omission, they mistakenly gave you an invoice of 49,000. It means you have been undercharged. So to correct this type of transaction, a debit note is used. While credit note is the opposite. That one corrects overcharged transaction. So the answer is C, debit note. Question 33 says, which of the following is a current asset? Current asset. Current asset. There are two types of assets. We have the fixed asset and we have the current asset. Remember I told you why doing this, that this side is the asset side. So you can also reclassify. We have fixed assets. Then we have the current assets. So we have examples of fixed assets. We also have examples of current assets. So let me use what I have on the board to differentiate between the two. For example, cash. Cash is referred to as a current asset. And there are two types of cash. You can have it as cash in hand or cash at bank. So cash is a current asset because it's not, money is your property. When you say something is an asset, something that belongs to you, the belongings of a business. So we have the fixed one, we have the current one. The current one is the one that you don't acquire to be kept for a long period of time. Nobody acquires money to keep for a long period of time. That's why you see people, when they get money, money like circulates. It's not fixed. Or like furniture and fittings. Furniture and fittings is a fixed asset. Goodwill. Goodwill is a fixed asset. What do you mean by goodwill? Goodwill is the benefit you get from having a good name or a good reputation. So goodwill is referred to as an asset because you see a lot of people, their good names have earned them so many things. So goodwill is a fixed asset. We have land and building, which is a fixed asset too. We have plant and machinery, which is a fixed asset. So the answer is option A, cash. Cash is a current asset. The next question, the aim of the profit and loss account is to show dash. The aim of the profit and loss account. We have the profit and loss account. The full account is called the trading profit and loss account. It's called the trading profit and loss account. So, and we have two types of profit gotten from this trading profit and loss account. One is used to obtain gross profit, the other is used to obtain net profit or loss. So the aim of profit and loss account is to show net profit or loss, which is option D. Trading account is used to show gross profit, while profit and loss account is used to show net profit or loss. That means you can either have a profit or you have a loss. That's option D. Question 35 says, the principle of recording transactions in bookkeeping. The principle of recording transactions in bookkeeping is based on dash. Is it assets and liabilities, or buyers and sellers, or creditors and debtors, givers and receivers, profit and loss? The answer is option D, givers and receiver. The second principle for recording transactions says debit the receiver and credit the giver. So what determines if you will be debited or credited is if you are the giver or the receiver. So the answer is option D. And like I said, it's gotten from the second principle, which states debit the receiver and credit the giver. Question 36. Money received and paid. Money received and paid is recorded in dash. A, cash book, invoice, journal, purchases day book, sales day book. The answer is the cash book. The cash book is a book where cash received and where cash receipts and cash payments are recorded. Cash receipt is what we refer to as the money received. Cash payment is the money paid. So the cash book records the cash received or money received and the money paid. So the answer is option A. All other ones, invoice is a source document. Journal is referred to as a book of original entry, of which we have the purchase day book and the sales day book. The two of them are types of journals. The next question says the following are features of an invoice except, that means these items can be found on an invoice except A, the check number of the paying customer, the description of goods, the number and address of the customer, the reference number, and the terms of payment. Which one cannot be found on an invoice? It is option A, the check number of the paying customer. Description of goods, that is the main aim, or that is the main thing that you can find on the invoice. The description, that's the name of the item, the quantity bought, the unit price, total amount. Then you have the reference number. Every invoice has a number on it. Almost every document used in the office as a source document has numbers. Almost every one of them, you see a number written on it for easy identification. Then it also states the terms of payment. Is it cash payment or credit? That means you will pay later, or maybe a discount has been given to you. The terms of payment is also illustrated. So the answer is option A. The next question says the gross profit of a business is calculated as A, opening stock plus total purchases, total expenses minus total income, total expenses plus total income, total purchases minus closing stock, total sales minus cost of goods sold. The formula for preparing or for the formula for calculating gross profit is option E, total sales minus cost of goods sold, or you can see it as total sales minus cost of sales. Sales minus cost of goods sold, or sales minus cost of sales. So the answer is option E. Question 39 says a statement that shows the assets and the liabilities of a business on a specific date is A, balance sheet, B, bank statement, C, cash book, D, journal, E, trading account. That statement that shows assets and liabilities of a business on a specified date is referred to as a balance sheet. A balance sheet is that statement. It's not a book of accounts. It's referred to as a statement that records two major things: assets and the liabilities of a business as at a given date. Question 40 says the amount received by a buyer for prompt settlement of account is A, bonus, B, commission, C, discount, D, loan, E, surplus. The answer is discount. Discount is that rebate, the reduction given to you for prompt settlement of account. This discount, the amount received by a buyer for prompt settlement of accounts is discount, specifically the cash discount. The cash discount is given when you are able to pay for what you have bought, though it's optional, it's not your right. But a discount is that rebate that is given to you by the seller when you pay for what you have bought on time. So it's a promise given to you, okay, if you're able to pay for your goods before the end of this month, I'm going to give you 2% discount, 3% discount. So the answer is discount, option C. Question 41 says, which of the following is an asset? Which of the following is an asset? A, we have accrual, we have creditor, we have loan, we have overdraft, we have stock. Accrual is a liability, creditor is a liability, loan is a liability, overdraft is a liability, but stock is an asset. Categorically, you classify stock under the current asset. So stock is a current asset. All other ones are liabilities. Question 42 says, use the following information to answer the questions. I've been given about three transactions to deal with here. We have purchases, 5,000, sorry. We have sales, 6,000. We have wages, 1,000. So you're expected to prepare a trial balance here. It says, what is the total of the trial balance? How do you prepare a trial balance? The trial balance is used to test the arithmetical accuracy of our ledgers. It's a proof of equality of your debit balances and of your debit balance and your credit balance. So here, just do a simple this is how you prepare your trial balance. Put your Naira sign. Put your Naira sign. Is the name of the account given? No. If the name is given, you put it. And these are the rules in bookkeeping. So now, you need to be able to classify which one comes to the debit side, which one comes to the credit side before you determine the total. So the first one, we have purchases. 3 items: purchases, sales, and wages. Purchases is recorded on the credit side. Purchases comes to the debit side, 5,000 Naira. Sales goes to the credit side, 6,000 Naira. Why rent? Why wages? Wages is an expense. Comes to the debit side, 1,000 Naira. These are your trial balance we look like. So here you have 6,000, here you have 6,000. So what is the total of your trial balance now? That's 6,000 naira. You are not expected to add the two sides together. It's called the trial balance because the debit side must be equal to the credit side. So your total trial balance is 6,000 naira. Option B. Question 43. Check returned from the bank as a result of wrong signature is called dash check. Crossed, dishonored, stale, uncredited, unpresented check. All these are different types of check. No, the two major types of check are the open check and the cross check. So the cross check is a type of check. Is a type of check on its own, and is that check that has two parallel lines drawn across it. But any check returned from the bank as a result of wrong signature is referred to as a dishonored check. The check is dishonored. A check is dishonored when there is an alteration or there is something does not correspond with the information they have in their record. Maybe wrong signature, or there is an alteration on the check. There's an alteration on the check and no signature was put on it to correct it. The check is going to be returned. So that is a dishonored check. A stale check is that check that has passed the date for presentation. It's like an expired check. And we still have the uncredited check, the unpresented check. So the answer here is dishonored check. A check is dishonored when the check is not written in the right form. Question 44, we have another transaction here. It says, use the following information to answer the question. Johnson's books showed. To answer the question, Johnson's books showed the following as at 30th June 2021. So looking at these transactions, you're expected to prepare what is called a balance sheet. I think we've treated a question on that before. The balance sheet. I told you it has two sides. Balance sheet, as at a date is given here, 30th June. The book of Johnson. So this is the liability side. So the first thing we need to do, so that this is the liability side, this is the asset side. So all you need to do is to group these transactions where they are supposed to be. The first one here is office machinery. Office machinery is an asset. Here we have assets, and there are two types of assets. We have the fixed assets. There are four divisions of this. There are four divisions of this balance sheet. We have fixed assets. We have current assets. We have capital. Then we have liabilities. So this can help you. So each transaction now you can post in any of these four where they are meant to be. Office machinery is a fixed asset. So it's going to be under fixed assets. Office machinery, you put your Naira sign here. Very important. 18,000 Naira. The next transaction is stock of goods. Stock is a current asset. Stock is a current asset. You have 2,000 Naira. We have debtors. Debtors is also a current asset. That means the people owing you and they have not paid. It is part of your business money, so it has to be recorded somewhere. Debtors, you have 22,000. We have capital. Already we have our capital here. So just write it. Capital is 26,000. Then we have the last one, cash at bank. Cash at bank is a current asset. So these are the classifications. I've been able to classify every transaction where they're meant to be. So the rule in balance sheet is you must have equal figures on the two sides. That means whatever you have here as total must be the same whatever you have here as total. So if we add these sides together, let's see what it will give us. 8 plus 2, 10 plus 2, 12 plus 5, 17. 2 plus 2, we have 47,000, which means automatically we are supposed to have 47,000 here too. But look at what we just have. No liability was given. So now the question is, what is the total of Johnson's liability? So what do? You should know that here and whatever is meant to be here is what should give you this 47,000. So to get this Johnson's liability, subtract this from this. So your liability is your total asset minus your capital, which will give you 21,000. So that's our answer. Our answer is 21,000. That is the missing liability figure. So our total of Johnson's liability is 21,000, option B. The next question says, what is the total of Johnson's fixed assets? Because I've already categorized everything, it's easy for us now to bring out any answer given to us. So what is the total of Johnson's fixed assets? This is the only fixed asset given to us here. So the answer is 18,000. But if they ask you for the total of Johnson's assets, it's addition of everything here. If they ask you for addition of only current assets, you add up this, this, and this. But they are only asking us for the total of Johnson's fixed assets, which is 18,000, option A. The next question, okay, says, what is the total of Johnson's balance sheet? Already we've gotten it. The total of Johnson's balance sheet is what? 47,000. I believe you understand, or you understood how we arrived at this 47,000 naira. It's addition of fixed assets plus current assets. The total of one side must equal with the other side. So you have your 47,000 naira as the total of Johnson's balance sheet. Question 47 says, the following are credited to trial balance except capital, debtor, loans, rent, and sales. The following are credited to trial balance. That means which one now is meant to be debited and not credited. So all other ones, capital is credited, debtor is credited, loan is credited, sales is credited, but rent is debited because rent is an expense. Expenses are debited. So the answer is option D. Question 48 says, the burden of the bookkeeper doing his work manually has been eased with the introduction of dash machine. We have the cash register, we have the fax machine, we have the photocopying, we have the printing, we have the typewriting machine. So which machine helps to reduce the burden of work on the bookkeeper? The answer is option A, the cash register machine. The cash register machine is that machine that is used to record sales on a daily basis for organizations, mostly organizations that are into buying and selling. So instead of you as a trader, you have a book where whatever is being sold, you write and write as a manual one. So this machine now keeps record for you. It keeps record of your daily sales. And that is a machine called the cash register machine. So the answer is option A. The next question we have a list of transactions here. It says, use the following information to answer the question. We have purchases, we have carriage outwards, rent and rates, wages, salaries. Let's calculate the amount of expenses. What do we refer to as expenses in every organization? Expenses are those things incurred in the running of the business. They are those things that we spend money on for the running of the business, like buying of stationaries, fueling your generator, buying postage stamps, recharging, paying rent, salaries of your workers, electricity bills, water bills, rates, and all of that. So it says calculate the amount of expenses. Looking at this illustration, we have 3 expenses here, which are we have carriage outwards. Carriage outwards, 8,000 naira. We have rent and rate. Rent and rates are expenses, 4,000 naira. Then we have the third one, which is wage, 10,000 naira. So the total of this gives us the total amount for expenses, 22,000. Carriage outwards here means the amount incurred in transporting goods from your shop to other places. That's carriage outwards. We have carriage inwards, we have carriage outwards. Carriage inwards is usually added to purchases, because carriage inwards is the cost of transporting your goods from the market where it was bought to your shop. So that cost is added to the cost of whatever you have bought to determine the selling price. But where you have carriage outwards, that's the cost of moving goods from your shop to places. You can even incur it on yourself. Maybe you can even use it as an after-sales service. So you are paying for it, so it's an expense. So addition of these 3 gives us total expenses. So the answer is 22,000 naira. Still on the same list of transactions, it says calculate the gross profits. We can simply call gross profits GP, and it has a formula. The formula is sales minus cost of sales. This cost of sales has its own formula, which says opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. So if, for example, you are given question, you are given opening stock, you are given closing stock, this is the formula you need to use to arrive at your cost of sales. But if you look at this question very well, the only thing given to us is purchases. So that is the only thing we are going to use. If, for example, they give you just opening stock and purchases, add it up. If they give you just closing stock without opening stock, subtract your closing stock from purchases. But in this question, we're not giving any opening stock, we're not giving any closing stock. So all we are using is just sales minus purchases. So sales value here is 240,000, while our purchase value is 180,000. Which gives us a gross profit of 60,000. So our gross profit is 60,000. Sorry, this is 160, not 180. So our gross profit is 80,000. 240,000, the purchase value given to us there is 160. So by the time you subtract it, you have your 80,000 as your gross profit. So the next question, still on this, using the same transaction, says calculate the net profit. You are supposed to get your gross profit before net profit, because gross profit is what leads us into the net profit. So I believe we have gotten the definition for this. Let me clean it so that we can calculate our net profit. So we have gotten our gross profit to be 80,000 naira. Now the formula of net profit is simply gross profit minus expenses, total expenses. That's the formula for net profit. The formula for net profit is gross profit minus total expenses. So looking at the other ones we have solved, we have calculated our total expenses. We've also gotten our gross profit. So our net profit is simply 80,000 naira minus 22,000, which gives us 58,000. So our net profit is 58,000 naira. You need to get your gross profit before your net profit. And like I said, the book of accounts that we are trying to explain or prepare here, even though not using the simplest form, is the trading profit and loss account. The trading profit and loss account. The trading account ascertains gross profit. The profit and loss account ascertains net profit. So our answer here is 58,000. The next question, 52, says the first book from which information for accounting purpose originates is it bank statement or cash book or ledger account or source document or trial balance? The answer is source document. Source document is a document that gives first-hand information about transactions for accounting purposes. Is that first book from which information concerning the transaction can be obtained for further accounting purposes. So the answer is the source document. Question 53 says, an obligation to expose, explain, and justify an action is what? Is it accounting or conservatism or optimism or probity or transparency? The answer is probity. Probity is the act of you showing pure integrity in your work. That means whatever you are doing is transparent. You are able to justify it and explain why you took the action that you took. That is the meaning of probity. Probity is one of the bookkeeping ethics. We have 3 bookkeeping ethics, which we use the acronym TAP for. TAP. T for transparency, A for accountability, Y, P for probity. Question 54. An estimate of income and expenditure during a particular period is it accounting or balance sheet or budget or finance or trial balance? The estimate of our income and expenditure. That means a book that analyzes our income in relation to our expenditure during a period of time is referred to as a budget. The answer is option C, a budget. A budget is that book used to estimate our income and our expenditure. It's a book where you explain or you estimate how your income is going to be spread around your different expense categories. That's a budget. The next question, 55. We also have a profit and loss table here that we're expected to find the missing figures. It says, use the following information to answer the question. Kazim, profit and loss account for the year ended 31st December 2014. So you have this. Profit and loss account for the year ended. So here we have a list of expenses. We have salary, 5,000. We have rents, 300. We have rent, 500. Then we have rates, 300. And there is a missing transaction here. Then on this other side, we have the gross profits, which amounts to 30,000 naira. So here you have 30,000. Here you also have 30,000. So the question here says the total expenses is, what are the expenses given in this question? Salary is an expense, rent is an expense, rate is an expense. So the addition of these three transactions give you the total expenses, which is 5,000 plus 500 plus 300 naira. So your total expenses gives you 5,800. That's the total expense, 5,800. Addition of salaries and rent and rates gives you 5,800 naira. The next one, still using the same transaction, says calculate the net profit. I gave you the formula for net profit in one of the questions we solved. If you can still remember, is gross profit minus expenses. So here, our gross profit is 30,000 naira, while the value for our total expense, as we've calculated here, is 5,800. So our gross profit here gives us what? 24,200 naira. So here now, addition of this minus your total here gives you the net profit, 24,200 naira. That is option C. Option C is the correct answer. Let's take the next question. It says the aim of the trading account is to show dash. The aim of trading account is to show dash. Here we have gross profit or loss, we have gross profit, we have net loss, we have net profit or loss, we have total expenses. So the aim of the trading account is to show option A, gross profit or loss. The aim of preparing a trading account is to ascertain your gross profit or your gross loss. You can either have a profit or a loss. So the answer is option A. Why the profit and loss, like the one we saw before now, is to ascertain your net profit or loss, which means you can either have a profit, you can also have a loss. The next question, the following are importance of bookkeeping, except that it shows the dash. A, amount of cash at hand. B, amount of cash in the bank. C, expenses of the business. D, the place to purchase goods. E, the value of goods purchased. One of the reasons of bookkeeping or importance of bookkeeping is to know the amount of cash you have at hand, to know the amount of cash you have in the bank, to be able to calculate your total expenses at a given time, also to know the value of goods you bought. So the answer is option D. Bookkeeping is not carried out to show the place to purchase goods. So the odd one out is option D. Question 59 says, a transaction that appears in both sides of the cash book is known as dash entry. a transaction that appears on both sides of the cash book. That means it appears on the debit side, it also appears on the credit side. There's a name given to such transaction, and the transaction is called a contra entry. A contra entry. Option A. A contra entry is a transaction that appears on both the debit side and the credit side of the cash book. And this kind of transaction automatically balances itself. Example, you have cash paid into bank. This type of transaction is a transaction that happens between cash and bank. Cash paid into bank or cash withdrawn from bank. When you see such a transaction in a list of transactions given to you, you should know it's a contra entry. Then the last question says, which of the following is a prime book as well as a ledger? A prime book as well as a ledger. Is it cash book or purchase day book or returns inward, returns outward, sales day book? The answer is the cash book. The cash book is a ledger, which is referred to as a principal book of accounts. All the other ones listed here, which are purchase day book, returns inward, returns outward, sales day book, they are books of original entry, which we can also call journals. But the ledger, a cash book, is a typical example of a ledger. So we have option A as our answer. So with this, we come to the end of our question and answer session, and I believe you have learned a whole lot from this class. So I encourage you to still go through and challenge yourself in one way or the other. Come up with other relevant questions, maybe questions that you feel can still be applicable in one way or the other, so that you have a vast knowledge of what we have explained in today's class. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.